Instagram you can still do.
Okay.
And there we are. We are live. It is Sunday, July the 28th, 2019. I am fully recovered from Summer NAMM, thank God. I'm your friendly neighborhood hippie, Ben, and with me, joining me is Scotty Smith, owner, chief bottle washer at ProAnalog Devices. How are you doing, good sir?
You're doing great, Ben. Thanks for having me on here.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on.
My pleasure.
I see we already got a whole bunch of people in the chat here. Let's just see here. Just got to expand that so I can get my damn slider bar back. There we are. We have, scrolling up, new to the channel, SDMF. Met him earlier today over in Robert Baker's channel. We have young Alex Radford out of the Bay Area. Hey, nephew. We have Upside Down. We've got my good friend and roadie, Mark Taft, in here. We've got Will Varela out at Oyster Bay. We got some guy named Ben Coombs. I don't know who that is. We have Brad Miller out of the greater Tampa Bay area. Marsman, who I got to meet a couple of weeks ago. He's out of the Joliet, Illinois area. We have Mr. Lawrence Petros Design himself in the house. Good to see you, Lawrence. Let's see, who else do we have here? We have Sir. I think I said that correct. S-U-H. I want to say Sir. We have my brother-in-arms, Albus Band, my partner in crime for Summer NAMM. That's great. Oh, dear Lord, we have Quentin James here, too. Janice is here. Gary Tholander is here. Good to see Jacob. Good to see you as well. Six String Brian. We got all kinds of people already jumping in.
Wow, that's great, man. We got a range of people in here. That's awesome.
Yeah. So if you guys have any questions for myself or Scotty, ask away, and we will do our best to answer them. Lawrence Petros says, "Let the scotch flow." Hey, Sonia. Well, I got a beer on the go, so there we go. And I may have partaken in something off air that's legal here and not legal elsewhere. So no comment. It's Sunday, and I don't have to be live again for 24 hours. So Jasco out of the Bronx. Good to see you. So you took NAMM off because it is a smaller event, the Summer NAMM. You and I were talking about that a couple of months ago, I think, in a chat, just messaging back and forth. Much smaller event, I must say, than Winter NAMM.
Yeah, man, I haven't been to Summer NAMM since 05. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't see a lot of value in it. I think it's good for younger guys. I've been going to NAMM. My first NAMM I went to was in '83. So.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, I was a guitar player then. So.
Sure. Well, you know, that happens. I got to go to my first Winter NAMM just this past one, and that was an experience and a treat for sure, I'll say.
Yeah. Yeah, I was at the one year before last.
Okay. It was amazing too. Like say some of the smaller builders and stuff, which was nice, very accessible at Summer NAMM. And they're like, "Oh yeah, you know, I remember talking to you at Winter NAMM." And I'm thinking, you probably talked to 2,000 people and you talked to me for 3 minutes. You know.
Well, yeah, at least they remembered you. You know.
Exactly. I don't know. You know, I don't think I wrecked anything in their booth to warrant, you know, me sticking it in their brains, but why not? Maybe it was that polite guy from Canada.
Right. Yeah, they should, you know, maybe call it NAMM/Nerdfest. You know.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what you should really call it.
I agree. Yeah. Because it's, basically you got industry folk walking around and a bunch of YouTube nerds like me filming everything, playing everything.
Yep.
It's Disneyland for me. I'm not going to lie.
It wears me out.
I bet. Yeah. Well, you be on your side. I'm sure after having the same 5-minute conversation 300 times a day.
3,000 times a day. Yeah. 3,000.
Yeah.
It could be tough. It's challenging.
Yeah. I bet. So how long have you been doing pedals for?
I probably started 20 years ago. I got in the business. I was a vintage pedal dealer in '97 through, I want to say 03, 04. So I competed with Analog Man, Pedal Man, and Sonic Flux back in the late '90s.
Okay.
And then I got into repairs, and then I'm the guy who brought the Tone Bender Mark II to the United States. So a lot of people aren't familiar with that what I did. How they left me out of that Tone Bender book from England, I have no idea, but that's okay.
Yeah, selective memory.
Yeah, I think they do. Well, you know, time. And then plus there's a lot of new people involved in this too. So, you know.
we have our first question for you. That's not from me. Albus Band out of the Joliet area as well. He says, I posed a rhetorical question to Scotty. Why is the Manticore so badass?
It's a lot of work and a lot of luck. I mean, man, I've had to. That is something that the whole idea behind that came for doing a mod for the Soul Food and then sell it to a bigger modder. And then they could pay us for the mod. And I thought, well, let's put it on the breadboard. And then I developed it over time and did several revisions of it, and it became its own thing. So, it's one of those, that's how I design. I'm not an engineer, I'm a designer. I'm a guitar player first and a designer. So I have an idea and then I stay with it for a very long time. Like most companies, they take this conceptual idea that they have and they put it in, they do, use more math. I use less math and more work. And I develop over time. So I probably have 6 or 8 breadboards here that I design on. I probably have 4 or 5 circuits on them. They're anywhere from 4 months to a year old.
Okay. And Lord Petros says, I can relate.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't do it like an engineer would, I employ engineers. I don't follow engineers. So, and I'm not an engineer. So I follow my intuition, my own instinct, and all my experience. So that's how I do it.
Makes perfect sense to me. I like that. Yeah, and I can understand where, tweaking over a year, 2 years even, just to get it just right. And then, okay, it's ready for throw it in, limited run. Let's see what happens, right?
Well, no, what I'll do is, it's different. It depends upon what it is. I'll leave it on the breadboard and live with it a while. Okay. And that's what I mean by that. I'll still release it, but I'll make revisions up into the release date. And then, I mean, right after the prototype. So I'll make voicing changes after we go to bring it to the PCB. And there's usually some changes that I need to make. And I lean on other players that are part of my inner circle. To give me the real critical feedback. And then, I go back and play it and I put some time into it. And then I do the revision. And, I try to, now I'm in a position that when I design, I have to hire one guy as an engineer locally. That's a friend of mine, helped me design the Manticore. We have design sessions lined up. So now I'm getting better with my time. So I have a plan to have this one, and this one design, built in prototypes, revised and released I have one I want to release by NAMM. So, and then another one by early spring next year.
Nice.
So
very nice. Yeah. I like that. Let's see here. Danny Allen says experimentation is more fun than mathematical formulas.
Well, the math is necessary. And, you have to follow some fundamental rules. It's just like, when I learned, theory, after you play so much and you throw it out the window and you develop your own thing. That's kind of, the pedal actually designs itself after getting a start from me. That's kind of how I feel.
Okay.
So my process is more feel-based and intuitive than it is electronic. My background is in repair. So I can always source stuff back and repair it. A lot of pedal companies, a lot of builders, they don't even know how to repair their own fucking pedal, which is ridiculous. So my electronics knowledge isn't in engineering, it's in repair. So
functionality.
Yeah, well, I gotta fix it. So it'll work.
Marsman says, I have a friend, Scott Tipping, that loves a super quack wah.
Yeah, I think I have 1 or 2 still left in stock, and then we're gonna build another 20, and they're gonna be in stock by October.
Just in time for the holidays, folks.
Yeah. And there's only 20. And I only build 20 at a time and put them in stock. And I never sell out. So, which is, you would figure 20 pedals would sell out real quick, but no. I appreciate loving the Super Quack.
Let's see. So says, can Scotty talk about what he is building for the next few months?
Oh, what I'm building is I'm redesigning my Mark IV vintage fuzz drive to be in the same enclosure. I should have grabbed one, sorry, as the Strident, where it's in a 125B box. It has top mount jacks. It has my new soft switch. So I'm redesigning that along with the Mark II. I'll have a Mark I. It'll all be all the, the Mark I, Mark II, the Mark III. My Mark III was one I designed and put out in 06. It was my version of what I would have done with the Tone Bender Mark II after Gary Hurst designed it. It's what I would have called that. It's nothing related to a Color Sound Mark III. And then my Mark IV is a fuzz drive. I had a vintage and modern. Vintage was germanium and silicon and voiced more towards a late 60s style of feel and sound, and the modern was more in the 70s. I really designed those two pedals to bridge the gap between players who love overdrive and players who love fuzz, but they don't like the other one. So it was really a good bridge.
Right.
And then, vintage is blue, modern is green, and it confused a bunch of people. So I just dropped modern. So there's no more modern. I'm just going to go with vintage. So.
Sure. Let's see. Will Varela was asking, is there a Super Quack Wah demo somewhere that he can check out?
We're on my YouTube channel. Ev Gray did one.
There we go.
One from about 11 years on there. 11 years ago, I think. 12 years ago, maybe. On there as well.
Nice. And let's see. Albus Band says, being a gear nerd and history of gear lover, can you tell the Tone Bender Mark II story?
About the Tone Bender Mark II?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was designed by Gary Hurst. And, I met Gary years and years ago. He's kind of like Les Paul. He thinks he invented everything. If anybody ever met Les Paul, 20, 30 years ago, he thinks Gary's the same way. I think he lives in Italy now. He just put another gain stage in front of like a fuzz face and made a couple changes, resistor and cap value changes, and he came up with the Tone Bender Mark II. I think the Mark 1.5 was very similar to the fuzz face, and then he added a gain stage to it. And I believe the Mark I was just a very close copy of the Maestro fuzz, but ran on 9 volts. So the Mark II, so the Mark I, Mark 1.5, and then you have the Mark II. It's kind of even, evolutionary type thing. So used Muller devices, the ones who were really the devices. When I started buying those and I got into Tone Benders in '99, I went out, I bought books, learned everything I could about what made up a germanium transistor, and started buying Muller devices from Bohr's houses all over the United States and online. Nice. So OC81D was the one that everyone cherished. I probably had on my vintage site. I've probably bought, sold, and traded at least a dozen. It includes Vox. They made them for Vox as well. I probably owned over 30 Marshall Super Fuzzes, which is a variant of it as well. And I had 2 Rotosound fuzzes, and they were Mark IIs. So
nice. We got 44 people watching.
Wow.
Everyone's saying to give thumbs ups for the show, and welcome everybody that's joined in after I did roll call. I am seeing all the names here, folks, but we don't want to do roll call all night. But thank you, everybody, for joining in, and keep those questions coming. Let's see. Scotty, can you talk about this new dual overdrive you're building?
Yeah, the dual overdrive is something that I kind of came on happenstance. It uses 4 JFETs, 2 transistors. There's nothing else like it on the market. And it's basically 2 amplifiers and 1 pedal, and they're in series. There'll be 8 controls. There's not going to be any dip switches. And you can go from anything from a light, clean transistor boost on both ones to this massive wall into Dumble land. And I really like it. It's still on the breadboard. We have some finalization to do on the tone circuit. But it's a very simple circuit. It's very close to original. And it uses, bipolars, transistors and JFETs. And the way I do them is nothing like it's designed by others and used on the market. So
Okay.
pretty unique. Doesn't use any ICs. And both of them will have our soft switching, which I think is the best on the market. It's very fast. There's no delay on it.
Right.
The
And
pedal
you can run both sides, independent or stacked.
or stacked, right? There won't be any pedal order because they're both exactly the same pedal.
Sure.
So you could set one really clean, very transparent, which I hate that word. And then the other one more is your overdrive. And then it blends really well because I have other makers' pedals here. It blends really well with other pedals. So
Always nice when they play well with others.
yeah, and it'll have top mount jacks, 2 LEDs. I'm probably going to put it out, and most of it is through holes. So there's been a lot of people asking me if I'm just SMD. Well, no, it's a combination SMD, and as you can see in my shop here, we hand wire everything in. So, I'm gonna target somewhere around $299, and I'm really gonna go after, because I'm a competitor by nature, by being a businessman. I've been a businessman a long time, and I've failed a whole lot. So I really want to challenge the market, and I really want to challenge the duelist, and I want to challenge the king of tone, very much so, and challenge people's thinking, not only in that and the other products I have coming, because this market that we have right now is really, really oversaturated, and it's oversaturated by a lot of mediocrity. Yeah. So, in my experience, I've been playing since 1979. Been going to NAMMs, 83, 85, 92. I've worked with 6 Rock and Roll Hall of Famers, wow. three Grammy winners.
Very cool.
So,
yep, I hear you. I would say this year has been better than previous years. I swear there was a pedal coming out every day the last 5 years. 2019, it seems like it's every other day.
Well, I get the whole DIY thing because I come from DIY, but I really come from repair. Okay. Being taught electronics. So, but my background when I started in the gear business, I started buying, selling, and trading vintage guitar and amps in 1987. And then in the 90s, I started really collecting a lot of vintage effects. So when I got on the internet in 95, I really started buying hardcore, all of my website. One of the guys that used to work for Analog Man, his name's Tom. He goes, we used to go to your website and just look at all the hardcore English made effects and Shelty compact phasing A's. It's so funny. You got the kids nowadays in the last 10 or 15 years, I build the best Burns buzz around. I had 3 of them on my website for $695 in 2001, and nobody knew what the hell it was,
Right.
So it's just everything changes, So, that's my background. I have a lot of experience. The Synthi Hi-Flies, I probably bought and sold and repaired 40 or 50 Benson Echo Recs, 20 or 30 different Echo Plexes. Right. I did a lot of work, We
have our mutual friend BB out of Switzerland in the chat. BV saying, "What's up, Scotty, my friend? What was the weekend catch like? Salute." And
yeah, we did. Yeah, I posted on Facebook. We did some fishing.
I saw that. Yeah,
it was fun.
At first, I thought he was asking me what the weekend catch was like. I'm like, wait a minute. BV knows like every pedal builder in the world. I'm like,
great guy. Yeah,
he's talking to you. Yeah, great guy and great friend of the channel.
Yeah, good dude.
Let's see here. Somebody was asking, Gary Tholander, any pedals comparative to the Boss ML2?
Yeah, ML2? Which one's that? I'm not really big on Japanese effects. I'm an English background guy. Give me a hint.
Just going to look that up.
Boss ML2. I have no experience. I have experience in...
the metalcore.
The metalcore. Not big experience in that. I have experience in the old delays. I have experience in the OD pedals. DS1s and all that stuff, which were really cool back in the day.
Sure.
But in the early 80s, when I was playing out live, I was more of an Ibanez guy. Ibanez and a Rat. I had a Tube Screamer and a Rat. That was my sound through an 8.
And nothing wrong with that. That's a lethal combo.
Yeah, that's what I did.
And what was your amp of choice when you were gigging out?
30 years ago, over 30 years ago, what was that? I had a Jason Med 100, and I had, what else? In 1987, I got Silver Jubilee.
Nice.
Can't play those gigs anymore. They run you out.
Yeah. Turn it down. Turn it down.
They're just yelling at you as soon as they see Marshall. As soon as you unload the Marshall and you start to load it in, they start screaming and yelling at you.
Yeah, yeah. I just stopped gigging in the last couple of months. Our last band split up. But fortunately, it's so DIY nowadays, they don't even supply a PA at the venue. So if we're running the PA, we only ever ran vocals to the PA, and then we just ran at about 110 decibels at stage volume.
Right.
And they're still saying, yeah, the bartender can't hear the orders. It's like, well, sorry, we got to compete with the drums.
Yeah, that's the way it goes. But we used to blast them out. And I'm originally from New Orleans, so, man, when we played, we didn't most of the time, we didn't take the stage until 10 or midnight. So, but everything's changed since then. When I moved to Indiana, everything changed as well. So,
I was going to say, whereabouts are you out of? I was thinking Chicago for some reason.
I'm outside Chicago in Maryville.
Okay.
Yeah, about 50 minutes away.
Nice. Well, we got a lot of friends of the channel in that area, so that's why I kind of mentioned that. Let me say 2 of them in the greater Joliet area alone that I'm just thinking of off the top of my head. Hey, yeah, BC Rich 581.
Joliet, Illinois is home of Wayne's World, wasn't it?
I'm thinking, I know the Blues Brothers.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
No, it was Aurora. Aurora, Illinois was the home of Wayne.
Right, right. Yeah. Which my entire channel has been compared to Wayne's World on more than one occasion. And I was like, you know what? I am fine with that. Keep that bar nice and low. Unscripted fun. Let's see here. Okay, those people are all talking to each other. BC Rich 581 says he loves Chicago Music Exchange. Well, that is
nice store.
Maryville, Holiday Star, great place for concerts, Todd Flower says.
Used to be. They tore it down. It's gone. Everybody's upset. It's horrible.
And party on, Quentin. Yeah, Aaron from Elvis Band is saying Maryville's hella close to him, too. Yep. Yeah.
I mean, it's not a bad area. So I've lived up here in Crown Point and Maryville for about 20 years, and before that I lived in Indianapolis, which is downstate. So.
Right. Yeah, I was able to spend some time. Before we went down to Nashville. I flew into Chicago on the Tuesday, and then I spent an extra couple of days on the tail end too to kind of decompress before the flight home.
Oh, in Chicago?
Yeah.
Yeah, did you like it?
I did. Yeah, we just tooled around the Joliet area. I loved it. It reminded me a lot of home. Same kind of tree, same weather. So I really enjoyed it.
That's great.
Hey, Soda Pop. He says, public access show. Exactly. Keep the bar nice and low. Yes, Shorewood to be exact. That's where we were. Shorewood, Illinois. And Todd Flowers is from Warsaw, he says.
Oh, yeah. Warsaw, Indiana. So they're off 31 or close to.
There's 31. My lovely sister Amanda has joined us. Nice. If you're new to the channel as well, folks, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe. Closing in on 1,300 subscribers at this point.
Good. We need to get them up, way up there.
Yep. Then, yes. And then it's a matter of not having to track down people to even talk to or answer an email. Yeah. Because I love gear and I love demoing gear. So, fortunately, a few companies have worked with me, and I'm going to get my hands on one of those Manicores. I know that. I was checking out your fuzz stuff, and I was like, I'm not a fuzz guy, but there was a couple of fuzzes I liked, and then I started checking out the Overdrive stuff, and I'm like, wow, that is nice. And I was like, rather fitting name of ProAnalog, because I was just ooh,
we're really, and ProAnalog is one word. It's not two.
Yeah.
Everybody spaces the two. The Pro from Analog. But I'll have a really unique and very special modulation pedal that's all analog, including LFO in spring. And then we're working on a all analog with some digital control, all analog delay.
Ooh.
So it's going to be a little pricey, but it's going to be worth it.
Oh, analog modulation. You've stolen my heart.
Yeah, it does 2 or 3 things that nothing out there does before. So it's a real 90-degree phasing.
Oh, nice. I love my phasers.
It's really unique. It uses a combination of OTAs, transistors, photocells, and JFETs. And they're done in a way to where they're completely 180 degrees out of phase. So we're going to have an output which will create a swirling chopping effect. So you can run it in 2 amplifiers.
Okay.
It'll do a Doppler effect as well, along with the phasing.
Oh man. Yeah, that's awesome. All right, I'm gonna have to keep my eyes open for that one.
Yeah, and I mean, those kinds of effects too. When we do runs of, I'm trying to get up to a place where we can do runs of 100. I have a 1 part-time employee now, which is the first time ever. And to do that, to get my costs down and get the retail costs down, I have to do higher numbers.
Right.
So, we're going to shoot for somewhere around $299. And for a lot of people, it's a lot of money, but if the tone is there and worth it, and it'll have really that, that schmutzy, greasy feel, like a real, that analog needs to feel. And there's something about the feel and touch, of analog modulation, and you have to work with it a while. So
true, very true. And I do. It's not something about the analog stuff. When you kick it in, it's like I like something. It doesn't accentuate my tone. It takes my tone, grabs it by the throat, and says, "Nope, this is mine now."
Yeah.
That's why I always, people that throw all their modulation in front of their dirt. It's just like, why? You're not hearing half of it. Put it post gain. It's all encompassing. I
like it both. It depends upon what it is. I mean, it's just not like, this isn't something that's like that's an MXR phase 90. We don't use any stacked. It's not all positive, all stacked. We're going to actually, the signals are going to be phased 2 different ways on both the plus and the minus rail. So in technical terms, they're going to be out of phase, 180 degrees out of phase. And when they come together, they phase cancel. So that's how you get the sound of it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And I'm pretty excited about that, and the 2 stomp overdrive. Really excited about that.
Yes.
That's how unique it is. So pretty soon, probably next year too, we're going to re-release the Manicore version 1, the 4-knob updated with our new electronic soft switch in it. So, and that'll be a standard in our lineup too, but it might be as long as a year or more off. So,
no, nothing wrong with that. Hey, Brian Stewart, and I get a comment. For some reason, Ben's show always reminds me a bit of the only Canadian show we ever watched growing up, the old Red Green show, which ran on PBS. It's funny they mentioned that, 'cause I remember I was trying to shoot a video last year, and all you could hear was chainsaws in the background. I'm thinking, they're going to think this is the Red Green show. Now I don't care. I just leave that stuff in.
Right.
Let's see. Quentin James wants to know, what's your opinion on people that use cheap cables to run their gear?
I don't know. I just go by sound. I used to make my own cables. And when I was playing 12, 13 years ago, people were like, where do you get that cable? I'm like, I made it. It's Belden cord and Switchcraft ends. And they're like, oh man, it sounds great. Can you make me one? Sure. So I'm not, I'll plug them in if it has a weird sound to it or something, but I don't use anything longer than 15 foot.
Sure.
Once you get in 30, 40 feet, you got a problem. You're going to need a good cable.
And it looks like Lawrence Petros is asking him follow up to the modulation. So how similar is it to a harmonic tremolo?
Well, it's going to be able to do something like that, but we're going to have a dry control. It's no harmonic trim. We're not going to use an LDR. I'm just going to use a photocell in a different way, and a JFET, and an OTA on one side. So we'll have gain stages of an OTA on the minus or the plus, and the transistor stages will be on the minus side. So they'll be in parallel with each other, 180 degrees out of phase. It's really not going to do a harmonic tremolo. This is going to be a, it's going to do a phasing, schmutzy phasing, swirling, chopping, and then we're going to, you can plug in a cheaper, like a Boss volume pedal and use that for the expression on it too, to set the speed.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I'm loving it more and more. The more I hear about it.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, and I'm trying to keep it into a 1590 BB enclosure, which is the same size as a Manicore, which would be about this size. And I don't think I'll be able to. We may be able to. We'll see. It's a good design. It's a really good design. I'm liking it so far, but I'm waiting for the bottom to sort of fall out of the market, honestly.
Right. Okay. Will Vrilla says, tell Scotty I just watched the Super Quack wah demo. Okay, I want one now. Very great reaction. Swimming wah. Thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you. I think I have one in stock on my website. Just go there and grab it.
There you go. Let's sell it out tonight, folks.
And if I don't, if I don't have one up there, I'll put it up. I'll put one up for sale. Because I think I have 3.
Okay, people are quoting the Red Green Show in here. I love that, considering most of them are not Canadians doing it. So all the more impressive. And hello to Brett McCord and Hugh Caldwell joining in. Man, we got a whole bunch of people in here. Keep those questions.
Great.
So what kind of stuff did you play before you got into building? When you were out gigging, what kind of stuff were you playing?
Well, just like anybody else, I was playing rock, whatever paid. My background is in R&B. I didn't grow up in rock and roll. My mom was a big Motown fan growing up as a kid, and Barry White and Lou Rawls. So I came around the rock later on. I grew up in psychedelic soul and stuff like that. So I think the first rock record I got was made in Japan. I was 15.
Okay.
So, and then I started hanging out with other people that were into rock. So, but I come from R&B and soul and blues, and that's my wheelhouse, really. And I love rock, so I play the whole gamut as much as I could. Learned a lot, studied jazz, taught guitar, then moved to Indiana, got married, had kids, got a real job, and started buying, selling, and trading guitars, vintage guitars and amps on the side in the 80s.
Sure.
So.
Very nice. Very nice. And now look, now you're hanging out with some Canadian on a Sunday night, and we're talking about gear that you're building and vlogging on the Googles and such.
Well, it makes for an entertaining Sunday night, and there's a lot of great music that I've always listened to. I'm always attracted to things that I can, really identify and relate to. I loved Reno's guitar sound from David Bowie, and that's kind of the start into Tone Bender for me.
Okay.
He was just a fantastic player.
Yeah.
Of course, Richie Blackmore was big to me, Jimmy Page, those kinds of people. And then, the players that played on all the Motown stuff that brought in Dennis Coffey and Wah Wah Watson and all those guys.
Yeah.
Played on the Highlights records out of Chicago. Those guys, all the fuzz on that, and Curtis Mayfield. And I'm a really big fan of music that's heartfelt and has a lot of human qualities to it. Stories I can relate to.
Sure, I can understand. Yeah, the for lack of a better term, roots music in many ways, right? Like that Americana.
Yeah, when I was growing up as a kid in New Orleans, when I was a kid, I would turn it on the AM. I was telling this to a buddy of mine who was a Grammy winner, and we were talking about radio late at night in my bedroom. I put it on an AM station, and I could pick up these stations out of Mississippi, out of Texas, out of Alabama, out of Atlanta, out of Florida. So Americana was regional, and it was all the stuff that came out of Muscle Shoals, the stuff that came out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, the music that came out of Northwest Mississippi, the music that came out of, Memphis, all that stuff was regional. And
right.
just one little turn, and sometimes I could pick up an R&B station out of Philadelphia, So in those days are gone. So that was the experience. When you talk about Americana, I think of Clarence Carter is Americana, And truth be told, Skinner's Americana from where they come from.
Sure.
It's real Americana music.
Yep.
Americana, Dwight Yoakam coming out of, Buck Owens coming out of California. That was Americana too, because it's regional.
Yep.
And that's how all those local regional influences, influenced all of us in the States, in different areas where we lived.
Sure. Hugh Caldwell says, great guest, Ben. Loving this. Well, I'm glad you're liking it, Hugh. Yeah, let's see here. Lawrence and Aaron are talking about harmonic tremolo. So you get sub chats within the chat.
Get the pedal guys and the guys who love effects, and I love effects.
Oh, yeah.
And typically, like when people meet me, if I'm not like in business mode, I don't like to talk gear. It's like I've been doing it for so long, and this is like my 5th year from a comeback from when I went out of business, and I'm trying to accommodate that, but a lot of times I can't, because like I have a local dealer, and people that know of me, I'll say, hey, I'll be in and I'll drop these pedals off, and they want to sit there and talk about gear all day. I'm like, oh, Jesus, shut up,
Yeah.
No. So I try my best. I love the idea of gear. I love the recording of it. I love guitar effects. For me, when I was a kid, I was telling people this. I go, we didn't know what true bypass was. I didn't give a shit. We plugged into it, and we would plug into the maybe 3 or 4 of the same model and pick which one sounded best.
Right.
So we just went with our ears, and I didn't know if it was true. I didn't know the difference between true bypass or no bypass, really. So and all these technical things now, and yet the buying public is so informed, and they're so well versed into it. You kind of have to, plead your case to that side of it. And that's why I bring up my switching and all this other stuff, because people really want to know, because they're educated on it.
Right. Let's see here. Lawrence Petros is saying, so you use a microcontroller on your switching?
I do.
So many people do. I do not. I prefer to stay away from digital if I can. Yeah, he's pure analog to that. I could totally relate to that. If it sounded good, that's good. End of story.
Mine sounds better. Did the comparison. I use a different processor than everyone else. And it's real soft. It's hardly any click at all. There's a little bit because there's gain and amplification, sure. But the fidelity's better than what are these switches here? Let me look. These switches here, I've been doing this shit for 20 years now. This switch here, this blue one, this is garbage. That's what that is. This is an alpha. Let's see here. This is an alpha switch. It's not that much better than this switch. All these switches made today are garbage. They're made with plastic on the inside. So you build up, you're running wire and long pieces of wire. I have these. These are also mounted to a circuit board. And I've done the comparison. There's more fidelity in the switching and using the momentary through the relay than there is in that. This builds up capacitance and a lot of stray capacitance, and these aren't that clear, believe it or not. They think they are. I mean, if it's good for you, that's fine. So it only took me 19 years to convert. Maybe in 19 years.
TV says Scotty likes to talk music and fishing and drop gear off at Tommy's.
Right. No, I drop gear off at Billy's. That's what I like to do. Just drop gear off. I don't really want to talk gear.
And he also said those are great soft switches. Marsman asks, do you know of the Steepwater Band from Northwest Indiana? I know Jeff Massey uses his MK2, I believe.
MK4. He uses MK4 vintage. He uses Super Quack Wah. He uses a Manicore and a Strident. And he's an artist endorser. We're going to be doing more videos with him in 2020. I'm going to be amping up a lot of great video on our YouTube channel. I'm gonna be doing some teaching lessons, doing some reactionary videos, and I'm gonna educate the public to what they're really buying out there just in the pedal world. You know, because 75% of it is they're buying the same shit with a different name on it.
Sure.
You know, and you know, hey, look, I want to see everybody get better at their vocation. You know, but you know, a lot of people have an interest and they might have a passion at building guitar effects, but doesn't make them good at it.
Right.
You know, so.
Hey, Guitar Hack. Good to see you. Yeah, I totally agree with that. And somebody asked, so what's your pedal board like?
I don't have one.
Do you have a pedal board?
You know, I've talked to somebody about designing a series of pedal boards, but man, I think it's throwing good money at bad. There's a dealer of mine in Australia named Nautilus Effects, and he has some really great new pedal boards, newly designed, and I'm really excited about those. So I'm gonna try those out, and that's probably what I'm gonna use for demo boards here at the studio, because in our studio we'll have 2 camera angles and be able to bring clients in, and players can come in and play and all that. So
very cool. I like that. So yes, I didn't put one in yet, but I will put in the description, folks, a link to the ProAnalog Devices YouTube channel. So everyone should check it out and subscribe. Maybe one of the moderators can post a link to the channel in here as well. And hello to Mark Taft. You're back. My roadie and good friend, Zach Thong. Good to see you. Just up the road as well. Nice. Let's see here. Brett McCord says flanger, phase, reverb, overdrive, delay, chorus, and on and on. Yeah. Sounds like my board. Except it's usually at least a couple of each. Why do you have 15 pedals on your board? Well, I got to have 4 different dirt pedals. I need to have a phaser and a flanger. And
I don't think I ever used a flanger live other than the Color Sound flanger. It was for one song, you know.
Yeah, set it over the top, and it was used, I remember, for like the pre-chorus of one song a night.
Right, that's it. Yeah. And then it just depended. I mean, I was a real big fan. My phaser was an old Fox foot phaser, the same one that like Brian May used. And I've probably 40, 50, at least minimum 50 Fox pedals bought, sold, and traded. Tons of them. I loved them. And I had one that just sounded amazing.
Thank you. Aaron and BV both posted links to your YouTube channel in the chat here. So definitely, if you haven't already, folks, subscribe today. Or you can wait till we're done here. You know, that's fine. Hey, Steve Anderson tuning in from the West Coast, which is the best coast. And Robbie Johnston here as well. Let's see. Quentin James says, any advice on the order of running effects?
Well, I'm kind of standard. I tell people, you know, when they ask me like about wah pedals, I'll never run a wah on a power supply. There's too much current. It's too stiff. It takes away, you know, it really wants that battery. There's not a lot of current in a battery. Okay. And the current swings up and down along with the AC that goes in. So your signal goes in, there's more of a sweep in it. There's a better feel. So I usually go into that first. I don't use a compressor. You can go into that, but order picking, I think, especially if you're going to use like an audio router nowadays, I have 2 different types of music comms for the demo boards that I'll have come in for here. You can change that order, but if you're not using an audio router, I think you have to really use your ears. Like, on my Strident VTB boost, the new one that came out, I tell guys to put it after their after you go into fuzz and then drive, put it after that, and then turn your amp down a notch or 2 and use the level on the Strident to bring the level back up. Because what it does is it drives it really well, and you can just, if you're playing a gig, you can just use the level on the Strident down in front of you to turn it up. See what I'm saying? So that's the kind of thing, unless you want to use it as a boost. You said you don't like phaser in front of a dirt pedal. There's been a few times that, depending upon the phaser, I liked it in front of a dirt pedal. So the order, depends upon what you're going for, what you're looking for in your tone palette, you know. So I'm usually germanium first, then a silicon fuzz, then drives, then boost, and then modulation, delay, and reverb, and then out.
Nice. Lawrence answered, he goes, guitar first, amp last. There you go.
Yeah, and you could there's no rules in this.
That's true. Yeah, exactly.
You know,
I told some people
there's a particular order and blah blah blah. Well, some shit don't work with other stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. And they go, well, there's a problem with the pedal. No, there's not a problem with the pedal. It doesn't like that order.
Right. And I tell people, especially with like a phaser, if they find it's too much of an effect, put it in front of their dirt, which seems to lessen it somewhat. So you can still use it, but it'll tame it a bit. Or see, Matthew McCullough says, thanks to Scotty for so many great pedals.
Hey, man, I thank you for your business. I appreciate it. Thank you for that.
Let's see here. Talk about the score of the Yankees game.
Oh, they're bored. They're bored.
Yeah. Are you a believer in time-based effects through the loop and drives and EQ through the front?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It depends upon the amp, too. When you get into digital time-based stuff, I would actually prefer that into a great buffered effects loop. Okay. Knowing me, like if I was playing again, let's say I was on the road, I'd probably use 2 Strymon pedals, but I'd throw them in the loop. Okay. The reverb and the delay, knowing me. So.
Sure. Yeah. I think I run everything into the front of the amp because I just always run my amp super clean as a pedal platform anyways.
Well, I use a reverb. I have an old Boss RV2 that I love. And I'll run that in the front of it too, because I got a 68 Bassman here. So
perfect.
But if I'm playing something that has a good buffered effects loop, I'm gonna run it in the loop, especially digital delay and digital reverb. There's something to my ear, you know, the preamp and that signal can really mess with it and just sound better to me.
Gary says, awesome. I'm doing something right. Yes, you are.
Yeah.
And yes, BV posted your Facebook page as well in here.
Thank you, Beef. BB. Thanks, Beef. I call him the Beef. Remember the Beef? You guys are probably young for that.
I remember the Beef.
Yeah.
Will says, no, I'm not bored. Enjoying this chat with Scotty. I just subbed him and probably will buy the Quack pedal.
Appreciate that. So, I mean, to me, there's no rules. Just, you know, I think what you should do is learn the rules and then throw them out. It's kind of like when you learn music. You know, and then there's things that come to you naturally as a foundation, and then you're going to reach and take chances. That's the other thing that I'll do. I'll reach and take chances and put a product out and fail, where other companies won't do that.
Sure. See, and they're just, okay, they're talking where to put a boost. Yes, if you want to use the boost to actually be like a lead boost, put it after your gain stage. Yeah. If you want to drive the pedals, put it in front.
Right.
Which can be fun too. Wow, we got 52 people watching. Nice.
I think the most I've had on a Facebook Live is 60 some. Then I watch other people, so they'll get a few hundred.
We got just over 90 one night, but I think most of the Northeast was snowed in. So like literally, well, I can't go out anywhere. I guess I'll watch.
Man, that'll work. Yeah, I'll take it.
Yep. Yeah, same as I noticed. Yeah, as the weather got, we had such a late spring this year that all of a sudden I noticed views went down. But then as soon as that heat wave hit a couple of weeks ago, views went back up because everybody's staying inside in the AC.
I mean, if you guys have any questions about, the industry, what it's like now compared to, I don't know, 2004, 2005.
I would imagine it must be a lot busier block. It seems like everyone and their brother is building pedals these days.
Everybody gets a bright idea and they think they can do something when they really can't. I mean, it's admirable, but really we I come from using it in the 90s. It's the Wild West. That play nice. We all fought it out. And we were still friends. And then, we wanted to compete with each other, and we were still friends with each other.
Sure.
So
back in the good old days when you walk into a music store and the guy behind the counter gave you nothing but attitude.
Right.
Now they're happy to see you, and it's still unsettling to me. Yeah.
So, I mean, the industry now is very different, is that, it's really social media driven by marketing. And I think the kids understand and are better adapt to, because they've had all the technology since they were little. Right. Yeah. Okay. So they can build a brand and learn AI. They can build the brand and market it pretty cheaply through social media, but their products are mediocre.
Right.
That's what I see, and that's what I experience.
What amps do you use when you're listening to your pedals?
Well, I use standard Fenders. I use a deluxe. I'm not a big deluxe. I have a 68. Not a big deluxe fan, but I have to use it. I think it's a standard when testing and listening. 68 Bassman. Used to have 3 Voxes. And then I have an Uncle Albert's amp that was my testing amp for years, which had a Marshall on one channel and a Fender on the other. So it was pretty easy.
That's handy.
Yeah. It was a custom amp made by Kevin Silver for me.
Oh, okay.
But I've owned over, at one time when I was doing really well in 04, 5, 6, probably I had 100 amps and vintage amps in my collection.
Wow.
So,
do you think boutique prices are getting too high?
No, I think, it depends. You have to realize the cost of electronic material has gone up. We have a tariff on aluminum, tariff on metals as well. So, a lot of the electronics are changing and becoming obsolete. And what happens is that they control the market. So a company that has, makes capacitors, and there's tons of companies, right, throughout globally. You have all these. So what they do is they have to compete with one another. So they have to manipulate the market and the amount they put out to get the money to come back up. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, the supply and demand.
Supply and demand of that. And then we're under tariffs and stuff. So I don't know. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I got, my Strident VTB costs me, I don't know, somewhere around at 100 units, $66 per unit, including the box. So my markup is fair and competitive. I shouldn't say that, but it's fair. And it really should go down. Whereas, it used to be before 3-4 years ago, you get someone who does a company that does, and they're not boutique. If you do 40,000 units, you're not a fucking boutique company.
No.
So you do that, they're probably, their cost per unit is probably $30. So they triple that. That's dealer cost. And then another 35%. No, it's $79 is what it cost me. Strident. Another 35%. That's your retail. So I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's probably where it needs to be. A lot of people but if you think, I've met people like, I won't spend no more than $199 for a pedal. That's a great perspective to have. It really is. You should stay in that wheelhouse if that's how you feel. I don't think there's anything wrong with that or a $60 pedal at all.
Right. Let's see. Quentin James has got to head out. See you, Quentin. Let's see. Guitar Hack asks, is labor the biggest cost for you?
Yeah, it is. Always will be. In any company, if you're running, with my employee, legitimately, I shouldn't be, something costs me $79 to make. It needs to be way lower than that. But the costs are just high. They're astronomical, So as a company, if you're running over 25% in labor, and I'm doing most of the labor, okay, you got a problem.
Right.
You need to be under that. But right now, the way materials are, they've gone up.
So yeah, he was referring to $300 plus pedals. I don't know. I get hosed in Canada, so
when you get into $300+ pedals, I mean, some of it is name recognition. you know, um, how unique the product is. Like when I released Manicore, I did all the math on it and what it's going to cost for me to hand wire them myself. And I was like, I mean, they're a pain in the ass to wire. They take a while to wire up. I go, I'm going to need this amount. So, I mean, one of the things that the buying public should do is rationalize someone else's cost and what their retail cost is. You should have what your budget and what you think that you should spend. I never begrudge anyone for charging $1,000 for a pedal.
Hey, if you can get it, you can get it.
And not only just that, it might be worth it to many people. Would I value it? I don't know.
Right. And I suppose if you're sourcing out like vintage components that are quite rare, the cost to build them is going to be quite astronomical with some of these chips.
It's the time. It's the time, So, getting the cost down and getting the price down in it right now, this is about as best as I can do. When you're over $300, so if your limit is $299, what was his name that asked that question?
Todd Flowers.
Todd. So if your limit's $299 and you don't want to spend over $300, man, I would stay there. Or if it's $199, or if it's $99, there's nothing wrong with that. But the problem is we judge somebody else for what they're asking. When I would buy and sell trade vintage guitars, I would have people hit me 20 when I go to buy a guitar, a 53 Telly, and it's 10 or 15% over what I would get for one, or 20% over. I never begrudged them. I go, it's just too expensive. Here's what I want to pay. If a guy wants to ask $1 million for a guitar, it's his, whatever he wants to do. It's the same thing in any product that you want to put out.
Exactly. Let's see what the market will bear. Yeah. Let's see, Crowbar says, the only time I see anything is when I see companies not having a clue that the market will not bear what they're charging. Yeah, that happens sometimes too.
But that's a judgment based on your perception.
Right.
Okay? That's your opinion. Right? That's a judgment. So you're judging the company based on price alone, not by the product. Because the product may exceed the price in somebody else's. You can play it. I've been called too expensive.
Yeah, I thought some pedals were kind of pricey. Then I played some of the quote unquote pricier pedals, and I could hear a difference. And I'm a firm believer you get what you pay for 9 times out of 10.
I believe that too. I don't. If I go to, go to buy a fucking GO car, I know what I'm paying for.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then when I pull into the Jaguar dealership, I know what I'm buying.
Right.
Okay. So, there's different standards. So.
Let's see. Guitar Hack is commenting on he lost his southern accent finally, days after getting back from Nashville. Oh, yeah. He went full on. He came up to me, hey, how y'all doing? I'm like, geez, Louise.
That's cool. I like that.
Let's see. Brian Landreth. I own a lot of pedals, but only have 7 on my board. I might pay more than $200, but it better be a fantastic pedal that will definitely stay on my board.
Yeah, that's my goal. Now he's hitting somewhere that I agree with here is that when I design something, I put it on the breadboard and I play it. I have to, my goal, and it's a high standard to reach because people are flaky and, truth be told, the majority of people just want to buy it, play with it a while, and then sell it and get out of it. Okay. So my goal is to stay on your board 50%. So if I sell 1,000 pedals, I want 500 of them to stay on the original owner's board.
Right.
And that's a lofty goal to have. So that's what he's talking about. So if I go up and I spend $259 or $239 for a Manicore or $299 for the dual overdrive I'm going to have coming out, he wants to make sure it goes on his board, and that is valid. He wants to stay there. So that's where chance comes in and risk.
So there's RJ Ronquillo. Good to see you, RJ. Great show yesterday morning. I got to hang out with him while in Nashville. Great player. Let's see here. Lawrence says, if your gear doesn't inspire you, it doesn't belong on your board.
Exactly.
I fully agree.
100%.
Brack wants to know, would you ask Scott what his favorite pedal he makes is and why?
Well, my favorite pedal is probably the Super Quack Wah and my Mark II tone bender. I come from playing wah. I don't play, I play wah like Wah Wah Watson did, as like it's its own instrument, it's a rhythmic instrument. And I worked long and hard on that. And the inductors are custom wound by my friend Joe Gagan. And we hit the mark on it. And then plus I have added circuitry to it. And then I'm known for the tone bender for the old timers that are my age and older. The young kids, I don't know who I am, but it's still in my wheelhouse. That's my thing. Those are my two favorite. Love the Manicore, and I really designed it. I designed the Manicore originally to challenge an original Klon in the market. From taking it from a DIY, doing a mod thing and selling it to a big company because they were interested. And I said, let's just put it on the breadboard and design something that will challenge a Klon and not be associated with all the clones.
Right.
So it's kind of risen to that level.
I hear you on that. I've been trying to come up with a design idea with Lawrence Petros for a few weeks now. And I'm like, be brutally honest. And he's like, I say, how about doing this? He's like, yeah, it's been done. Yeah, it's been, this has been done. That's been done. So I came up with the closest I came was a Klon idea with a 3-band EQ and twice the gain.
That's been done.
Yeah, it's been done.
It's Wampler, right?
Yeah. He's like, damn it. Okay, fine.
I think his was a gyrator. He used a gyrator circuit, Lawrence. And I could hear it too. And then when it came out, it had a problem with the supply. A lot of people don't understand plus and minus rails on a supply in design of that and what it takes to get it filtered correctly. So
somebody is asking, will your new dual overdrive sound anything like the Analog Man King of Tone?
Nothing like it. It's going to smoke it. And of course, I tell Mike all the time it's the king of toneless because it's 2 blues breakers in one, and the blues breaker is about as boring as it gets.
True.
And then all the dip switches and all the nonsense, and then you got to wait 22 weeks for it, and people just aren't honest. I've had 5 or 6 here. In fact I have 2 Analog Man pedals I got to repair for Jeff Massey here.
Okay.
So
did you ever sell a wah pedal to Kirk Hammett?
No, never did. I sold it to David Grissom. Who else? Brad Whitford, Joe Perry, Alvin Youngblood Hart. There's a few more too. I can't remember.
See, I'm hearing players that actually have tone.
I think all of them have a Grammy, don't they? I think they all do.
They may, but some years are deeper fields than others.
Right.
Suave Trainwreck. Good to see you, sir. Do you make anything that comes close to an old Fender blender?
Man, I had one called Ascension. You can go to my YouTube channel. And Mike Herman does a great job, and I discontinued it. It's $2.99. I might re-release it, but the problem being is, a lot of 75% of the market are people who are really home players, that have an enjoyment and love, and they have passion for it. And it was a great octave up, and it smoked, and it smoked a Fender blender, which I love a Fender blender, but it's a totally original circuit called Ascension, and I think Josh Scott from JHS has a video on it too, on his YouTube channel.
Okay.
So he got one, but I discontinued it and I no longer make it. I might reissue it if I end up a year from now or 2 years from now. We got 5 or 6 employees and we're doing 1,000, 2,000 units a month. I might do a limited run of 100 or 200 at a time. Depends what the industry looks like by then in the market.
Very cool. All right. Now, this is why I love doing these things. Krellbar says, I actually hadn't heard of ProAnalog Devices, unfortunately. We'll do a lot of research and looking forward to it. I'm sure Scotty makes an awesome product.
Thank you. I hope so. I've had a lot of failures too. You see this face? There's a lot of failures on this face.
Let's see here. Brian Landreth asks, if you know what Alvin Youngblood Hart is doing now. I have an Overdrive he built.
Oh, you do? Yeah, the Blood Drive. Yeah, Alvin's an old friend. I think he's out on the West Coast right now. He was overseas. He still plays quite a bit. You can friend him on Facebook or follow him on Instagram. So
very cool. Buddy Holly says, why does the industry not standardize an optional way optional way to mount or connect pedals together? Should almost be like Legos by now.
Because if you did that, what happens? Think this through logically. I would never agree to it because they were all lumped into one category at that point.
Right.
It takes away competition.
I kind of like having the different sized pedals, and some are top mount, some are side. It makes a bit of a wiring mess, but I don't care about that. I think it looks cool.
But it's really up to the company to become standardized in the market. And standardized this way is that's why I did Manicore. That's why I'm doing this new 2-stomp Overdrive. I want to be, and I'm doing drives and fuzzes first. I discontinued Lady Evil fuzz as well. It's because I want to become standardized all in that first and eventually be looked at as the gold standard in those things. Then bring out modulation, delay, and then digital products. So, but it's up to the company to become standardized in footprints and how and what size enclosures they use. That's the company thing. And a lot of that too is the look. So kind of like Thorpe. Anybody familiar with Thorpe? Who's, Adrian's a good friend of mine too. That's really why he did it like that, is because it sets him apart uniquely from everyone else.
Okay.
So if we were all standardized in the same enclosure, they all hook together, and we can't really separate ourselves from anyone, and I would never agree to it anyway.
Right. Lawrence says, I believe you use the standards that will support your products and go unique in areas that will accentuate your products. Explain. Yeah.
Give an example. Standardization, what I mean is the format of the layout of the pedal itself. It's for me personally, it's important to have top mounted jacks on all my stuff, no matter what I use. So I'll never use the mini pedals.
Right.
Okay. So unique quality, would I want to go to unique and invest in that? As the market as it is now, the unique quality is in the graphic, not in the enclosure itself, in my opinion.
Oh, okay. He says Boss style power supply, input on the right, output on the left.
Yeah, I want to be standardized on the top on all my pedals. I think it's easier. Every time I wire up a client's pedal board, having top mounted jacks is the most important thing. That to me, if you do a poll on, ask them, top or side jacks, everyone, 90% of them is going to say top.
Right. And a lot of guys are saying, you can fit more pedals on the board.
Right.
I like that. And a couple people were asking, can we see a pedal that you make?
Oh, shit. I have nothing out here. Nope. Unless I get up. Sure, let me get up. Stay right there. Ta-da.
There we go.
How's that? That's one.
There we go. And let's see. We just got a report in. We got 58 people watching and 40 thumbs ups. Well, let's hope we get to 50 thumbs ups. That'd be nice. Can transparent overdrives be seen?
I don't believe in transparent. When I did if you ever heard the Fuzz documentary, the sound that revolutionized the industry,
right?
I'm in there. I'm in that.
I thought you were.
I'm all over in it. In fact, the producer and the director of it is a good friend of mine. I got him Billy Gibbons in there. Billy Gibbons uses an old dual drive of mine still in his rack out live on tour.
Okay.
Elwood Francis is his guitar tech, and he's a good friend of mine.
Well, so, it's funny because as soon as you mentioned that, I'm like, that's where I first discovered you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, back in 06. Yeah, it's back in 06. And Paul Cochran came to this trade show that we were at. And I actually got Paul Cochran to come. Okay. And anybody knows Paul, he ain't gonna go nowhere. So Paul C. So I said, man, get up there and fucking do the interview. Because he did Z-Vex and Cusack was there and Screddy was there and, you know, several other vendors or other pedal builders. And, you know, so they edited the thing. There's like, okay, tell me about Transparent. Well, they asked, you know, Paul's describing his Timmy pedal or his Tim pedal. And he goes, what's Transparent? It gets to me. I go, Transparent? My ex-wife. You know, a ton of people in the music business. So when it came out, Paul called me and he was like, man, did you see how he edited that? I said, I thought it was great. And he was all upset about it. So
let's see here. Lawrence says Paul C is a great dude.
He is.
We're up to 41 thumbs ups. Yay. Nice, nice. All right, keep those questions coming. We'll probably go another. You good for another 15 minutes?
How about, yeah, we'll try.
All right. So far, so good. Aaron saying Kozak's badass. Yeah, he was talking to him at Summer NAMM. They might be doing something together. So, of course, you think he's bad. Actually, he is a good guy.
Yeah, John built Manicore for me, version 2.
Thanks. Hey, Michael B. Let's see. Scotty, have you ever thought about collaboration with a pedal company like Ibanez with Vimarum or Boss with JHS?
Well, I think it's smart for both companies to do that. You know, I know Josh didn't make any money on that because, you know, he's got his brand into a different area. And then it got Boss because, you know, Boss's numbers are down. It got Boss over and more into the praise and worship thing. So that collaboration worked for both the companies. I'm open to it. Absolutely. Would I do it? I mean, I've done projects for other companies and designs for other companies who are a colossal pain in my ass that I'll never do again. But I would do something like that with a major manufacturer, just because, you know, it gives such a great brand awareness and it both helps both. I'm not real fond of Vimarum, so
right.
I won't speak to them. And
yeah, I can see that because, you know, obviously it would raise awareness for you. But I think it adds a cool factor for these larger companies too, you know, because they can be seen as, well, they're corporate or they're your dad's pedal company. They're not cool pedals.
Right.
And they're like, oh, wow, they're working with this guy? Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, and it gets them into the, you know, this other scene that they're really not in. And it's a brand awareness for them too. So it's a win-win for both sides. Neither one of them make any money off of it, really, truly. It's not a big money venture.
Right.
It's really just brand awareness.
See you, Mark. Mark's got to head out. Let's see. Okay, we kind of touched on this earlier, but Will asked, he might have missed it. What started you on the road to pedal building?
Well, I got the idea because I was in a vintage pedal site that competed with Analog Man, Pedal Man, and Sonic Flux. And I got the idea because I'd gotten laid off at work and I'd been repairing stuff. I'd been taught electronics by a local repairman, Calvin. God, what's Calvin's last name? He was wonderful to me. He's in his 80s now. And I thought, well, you know, maybe I'll try. I'll build a couple Mark IIs because I love them. I had a couple vintage ones, and then I probably at that point had 5 come through my hands, and I loved them. So I like I said, I learned electronics, and then I searched all over the world and learned germanium devices, the P&P Mullers, and I bought them from all over. You know, I probably at one time had 20 or 30,000, and I've sold a lot of germanium transistors to other builders, 20 or 30,000 transistors. And so I made some clones, and mine would just have a sticker on it back in the day. I mean, you know what? I have one. Hang on a second. This is Mark III. So my whole idea is I was a stay-at-home dad. I got laid off, and I said, well, you know, because my website was kind of a hobby, and I made a couple bucks on the vintage stuff. So I thought, you know, I'll start doing my own pedals, and I use these stickers on an aluminum box, old NOS Bud box. But this is my Mark III. This is from 06. This is number 8, believe it or not. So this was in 99. And then
where Josh Scott is drooling right now.
Yeah, this is number 8. I didn't realize it was number 8 until I just read it. But in 99, I had a friend of mine named Ron Neely, the EH man, the Electro Harmonics man, helped me out. And then Calvin did. And then I made a few clones. I made probably 10 or 12. And then people started talking about it on the web. And then when the gear page opened up in 2003, they started talking about it. And bam, next thing you knew, I started adding other ones to them, like my top boost. I did my wah pedal, and then I did the dual drive, the power driver, the Dirt Royale. After that,
very cool. And it looks like the folks in the chats are loving this. They're saying two elite pedal builders in one chat.
Who's the other one?
Apparently, Lawrence Petros.
He isn't there yet. He might one day. Keep going. Keep working. Keep working hard.
I agree. Let's see here. What's your opinion on Love Pedal?
No opinion whatsoever.
There we go. And Lawrence fully agrees with you. Exactly. Someday. He's working on that global domination one pedal at a time.
That's what you want to do. Do not. If people talk about, man, I failed more because of my ego than anything. Lacking humility. 1, 2, always be open-minded to learn. Have risks to risk your reputation or risk your knowledge or this thing inside your head to take some chances, you know, and it's going to be 90% work, 2% talent, and 8% luck. That's how it's going to go.
Brian Landreth is building a pedal board as we speak. Nice. Matthew Stewart's joining us late. Hello, Matthew. He said, looks like he set the chat on fire there for a sec. Everyone's like, gasp, wow, LOL, LOL. Hear a pin drop. Oh, I love it.
None of this, guys, ever came easy except real early on. I learned by doing, and I learned by failure. You know, and then for a long time, I was my own worst enemy. So, and I get out of my own way now. So,
let's see. BC Rich says it really does sound like a brutal industry to work in.
Yeah, it's a tough industry. I mean, if you go to Bart's website, what's the name of that place? The effects database.
Okay.
There's like 20,000 so-called pedal builders throughout the world. 20,000.
Yeah, that's insane.
I'm like, Jesus, I'm an old man now, and do I really want to do this again? I've had to question that too, you know?
Right.
Because it always seems like whoever's the new cool hip kid.
Yeah, and there's a lot of young guys getting into it. I noticed that
young guys. I've talked to them online, and they don't know shit about electronics.
Right.
I think they know, but they don't know.
Yeah. Experience does come very handy in that respect, I'd imagine. A lot have been there, done that. Like I said, trial and error.
Yeah, if you don't have, you know, have an understanding and look out into the field and see where stuff is, and having to read the feel of battle and see where stuff's going, our industry is on a downswing because it's just so oversaturated with all this crap. And it's like I said, it's 75% of it is the same shit. And nobody wants to say it. I've only got it's like I got to be the bad guy and tell the truth, you know? Right. Do I want you to be successful? No. I want to compete against you and beat you. That's what I want to do. I want you to challenge me to put out a better product.
Yes. Yeah, continue to raise the bar.
Right. Everybody wants to be friends. I don't want to be your friend. Not business-wise. I'll meet you outside. Absolutely. I'll be nice to you.
Lawrence says, I always follow Cole's law. It's like Ohm's law, but with more cabbage. It's never failed me. Okay. I don't know. Wait, I don't have a comeback for that, Lawrence. I'm sorry.
I mean, someone, told me, I don't know, late last year, we're in the golden age of effects. I go, no, we're not. The 70s were. We're in the golden age of copycat.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of replicas, tributes, which are really just poor replicas. It's an engineering joke, Lawrence says. Okay.
Not an engineer.
Yeah. Let's see. Phil Mosley says, putting together a little kit or following a schematic to make a clone is one thing, but actually understand circuits and components is a completely different skill.
That's
that
right.
I respect a lot.
Yeah. And it takes a lot of work and a lot of failure, and I'm here to tell you, man, I've been lucky too. There's some luck involved. You make your own luck with the work that you put into it. Nothing I do is easy. It's like everybody, acts as though this stuff is easy, and it's not. It's a tough business. It's oversaturated. It has a lot of kids in it, and everybody's looking for their own, their own status. I'm not here for status. If I want to be popular, I'll talk like Josh Scott. I don't care about that. I care about the product and putting out the best product I can.
Right. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, we got 5 minutes left. Somebody asked if you are going to NAMM this year.
Winter NAMM, no. Won't be at Winter NAMM this year. I have a product release. When we do Winter NAMM again, it'll be in a certain way. So I'll only be there on the first 2 days. In Winter NAMM is more of a marketing show. I don't view it as a trade show. So I'll only be there to do interviews. I'll have an artist come out and play, do some demonstration. But really you don't take any orders there anymore. So it's not like there's vendors there to buy.
Right.
I can sell more to a dealer or right here from my own place. I can get dealers right here. I don't really need NAMM for that. NAMM, I want to be able to market a certain way, and I'm not set up to do that right now.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say, even doing like one of those group booths where it's half a dozen builders.
I won't do that. No, I won't do that. But I'm going to do it a different way. But I mean, going to NAMM, it's not something that I look forward to. It costs a bit of money. So that, to me, it has to be part of my marketing budget. That's how I view it. And then I want to meet people that love, a product. And I like a lot. I mean, there's a lot of builders that are my friends, and I love them that are out there, but it's really a tough way to go. If you have your expectations that you're going to go to NAMM and hopefully, you'll be able to sell enough orders to pay for your NAMM trip is totally unrealistic, because that's not what the industry is anymore.
Right. Yeah, it seems like now it's just more networking and guys like myself running around covering the booths.
Right. You want to get on every cell phone that you can, in Premier Guitar and all, Reverb. That's the primary focus, to do the announcement on like that. So really, if you look at it, I think there was a lot of bigger companies, pedal companies, that weren't at Summer NAMM this year.
Right.
And then I heard that actually the little guys got some love and sold a few things.
Yep.
Well, that's a good thing,
I agree. Well, I think on that note, we'll probably wrap things up. Do you have anything to add, my good man?
No, just thank you guys. If you want that WAP, please go to my website.
ProAnalogDevices.com.
Yep.
Check it out.
And keep in mind, like I said, I'll be releasing all my fuzzes throughout the next 6-7 months, and then we'll have new product in new 2-stomp overdrive in January. We just released Trident VTB vintage tone booster,
which is very cool.
It's very good. It's very, very good. I got lucky on that one. But I think I got real lucky on that. And RJ Ronquillo did a great demo on it. 2-stomp overdrive.
Nice he jumped in. I don't think RJ's still in here, but it's nice they jumped in to say hey.
Yeah, and then I'll have the modulation pedal out by spring.
Nice. I'll definitely be looking forward to that. So
awesome.
Yes. Well, thank you again for coming on. This has been an absolute treat, talking pedals and vintage gear and all kinds of cool stuff. And thanks everyone that tuned in tonight. Again, if you're new, please subscribe, leave a thumbs up, ring that bell so you get notified whenever I put out some content. I'll be back here in approximately 22 and a half hours with the weekly flagship show, Canucks with Guitars. So until next time, hold those doors open, let that guy in ahead of you in traffic, do good things, and good things will happen to you because karma is real. I'm living the dream, folks. See you tomorrow night. Cheers.